I would like to welcome Dr. Nupur Joglekar today on the show. She's a merger of two different type of thought processes. One is metaphysics and second is physics. They come together. What is shamanism and why it is so important?
So the word shaman literally means someone who can see in the dark or somebody who can show you your path in the dark. If you look at people who approach us for help of any kind are facing some sort of darkness in their life. Shamanism goes beyond your physical body and mind. It connects you to your spirit or your soul.
How you got introduced to the spiritual world and shamanism and...
Many Masters, Many Lives was a book by Dr. Brian Weiss. That's where I first read about past lives and a doctor talking about it. Next was Louise Hay. So when I read her book called You Can Heal Your Life, I think this was around second year of medicine.
So what's family constellation?
The family constellation theory believes that whatever your family has experienced for generations, somebody was an outcast, somebody ran away from home, or pehle zamane mein jo, we used to have the young widows who were like given away to maybe ashrams and
fire,
sati ho sakta hai. These are people we may never mention ever. So wo jo exclusion hai, somewhere that energy tries to get re-included into the family dynamics and a newer generation can represent it.
You were talking about the grief. Grief is very powerful emotion which comes because you lose someone suddenly.
To start out, it is difficult to even sometimes realize ki jo experience ho raha hai, what I'm feeling is grief.
Oh.
Grief can come in different forms, For some people it is depressing.
What is psychogeometrics all about and how it could be useful for companies?
Psychogeometrics, as I have learned it, is the psychology of shapes. Psychogeometrics helps teams through an assessment to understand कि आपका dominant nature क्या है.
Today, I wanted to introduce all of you to a very powerful personality, and it's a very interesting combination she brings in. She's a merger of two different type of thought processes. One is metaphysics and second is physics. They come together. East and West, they come together. The science and faith and spiritualism comes together. And this would be very interesting because it can change your life. Even if you learn very important one thing out of this, you will be getting to a new dimension of your life. I would like to welcome Dr. Nupur Joglekar today on the show. Thank you, Nupur, for joining in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I would like to ask you a question that you are a doctor, which is you're an MBBS, proper MBBS doctor. Okay.
Yeah.
And on the other side is you are a healer, you have studied shamanism. A lot of doctors go by saying that, it's science and, they are boxed and they always think logical. But how does this merger of spirituality and science comes together in your life?
Okay. So it came during my medical college days, I would say, where we met a lot of patients जिनके कुछ symptoms थे, कुछ diagnosis था, then we would give them medication for it. And I always felt that there was more to the human body, to human life than what we can see logically. And we start treating people like sick bodies. We need to remember they're people. So energy, empathy have to be integrated into the practice.
And I also believe that science is not very old. I don't know how old it is, but I don't think so that modern science or medical science shouldn't be more than 200, 250, 100 years. But humans are millions of years old.
Yeah.
I was reading an interesting book called The Placebo Effect by Joy Dispenza. And I was, laughing on the science and, science, what they don't understand, they call it placebo. But it's not placebo. But they found a name. So there are a lot of things happen. People are curing cancer. People are reversing their diseases. People are getting strength back, are coming out of depression. Everything is happening. And science has no answer. And that is why we've seen the movies too. When the doctor comes out of an operation room and, family asks, how was the operation, doctor? Doctor says, I have done my best. Now it is on to him. Right. So doctors do believe. They say it. So I'm very happy that you put in effort to learn it. So I want to talk about the word called shamanism because if you go and search Google, I don't think so it gives you right answer. So I want you to explain what shamanism all about and how it works, and what is shamanism and why it is so important.
So the word shaman literally means someone who can see in the dark, or somebody who can show you your path in the dark. So that is the literal meaning of the word. If you look at people who approach us for help of any kind, are facing some sort of darkness in their life. It could be grief, it could be loss of something, it could be something traumatic that's happened to them, and some are just trying to find themselves, and shamanism goes beyond your physical body and mind. It connects you to your spirit or your soul. Not just this lifetime, it helps you explore lifetimes you must have lived, the stories of your ancestors. And by ancestor doesn't have to be only family ancestors. It could be something we experience as a country or as the whole of humanity. So anything and everything that has been experienced is somewhere there in the form of energy. If we process it, if we help people heal from their experiences, we can lead fuller lives. Otherwise, we lead very, very, very limited lives. If science cannot measure something, it doesn't mean it's not there.
I heard a beautiful story that Newton discovered the gravitational force. He was lying under the tree, he saw the apple falling, he proved it. But does that mean gravitational force did not exist before that? It did. Only he discovered it.
Right.
So there are a lot of things we yet to discover, and but they're still there. And I agree, what you're saying is very, very true. So let's go to your MBBS days first. So I want to know about your journey being a doctor. So where are you from? And you're born and brought up which place, and little bit of family too.
So born and brought up in Pune. Schooling happened in Chinchwad, but Pune only largely for the world. Parents are also from Pune. MBBS pucho to I did it from Pravara Medical College, Rural Medical College, which is I think a 1 hour's drive from Shindi. And Baki to sari life.
Your father was an engineer with.
Yes, so my father worked with Bajaj Auto all his life, still continues to work with Bajaj Auto. Wow. And my mom is so my father is basically an engineer from the College of Engineering, Pune. And my mother's a master's degree holder in microbiology. So she was a gold medalist of her time. फिर backseat लिया घर पे, was a homemaker for quite some time. Then was a school teacher. फिर से break लिया, then went to work as a admin person for a study abroad program. And currently she's helping me with my nutrition business. So she and I work it together.
No, the reason I wanted to ask for our viewers is, a lot of people think it comes in family structure and you learn a lot of things from your parents. But sometimes you have a right calling to help the world. You come from a parents who are engineers and microbiology, which is more science.
Yes.
Your study is science. And now it comes spirituality. We'll come to spirituality later. So now you're MBBS. So you did MBBS and did you practice also? And you were talking about, the masters you were planning, and would you like to highlight that story too?
So my interest was in psychiatry and gynecology. Gynecology में एक internship की, which was at Harvard University in Boston.
Wow.
The internship was fantastic, but I realized मुझे gynecologist की life नहीं चाहिए. And psychiatry and mental health and exploring the mind and soul was a bigger calling, I would say. So psychiatry में भी internships किए कुछ US में. And that's when I realized that we are limiting ourselves to prescriptions. So 14-year-old children are diagnosed with something, and then they are dependent on an antidepressant or a mood stabilizing drug for the rest of their lives. But where did that diagnosis come from? मतलब अगर कोई depressed है, anxious है, या किसी को bipolar disorder है, तो what was the root cause? What happened? So digging up the root cause, was something that was going on at the back of my mind, and I couldn't find it in modern medicine.
Yeah, I know. I always ask a question to myself, even my work or when I go out, is, am I solving a symptom or am I solving a root cause? Because symptoms, solutions may make me feel good for time being, but till the time root cause is there. And I'm very happy that you went in to find out. And you found out, you're not in the in the modern science and medical science, but you found out. So I want you to share how you got introduced to the spiritual world and shamanism and your journey and your how it came to your life.
How it came in. Okay. So, like to read. I'll always like to read different kinds of books. So, Many Masters, Many Lives was a book by Dr. Brian Weiss. That's where I first read about past lives and a doctor talking about it. That's where I think for the first time I touched upon something metaphysical, if we can call it that. Next was Louise Hay. So when I read her book called You Can Heal Your Life, I think this was around second year of medicine. And I could relate to a lot of it, which I found it was very hard to do with modern day medicine. फिर उसके बाद did some workshops, some friends somewhere, so something in meditation, something in past life regression, breath work. The experiences were great, but I knew there was more to explore. And then I did a workshop in Chennai, which was by Shavasti. His earlier name was John Payne. He now goes by the name Shavasti, a British healer and facilitator, I should say. So his specialization at that time was family constellations, and he had studied shamanism. So that is where the kind of workshop that he conducted, I found more answers to what I was not really looking for anything, but I found answers, I'll have to say.
So for our viewers, what's family constellation?
Family constellation is where, let's say we're addressing a challenge in somebody's life, So the family constellation theory believes that whatever your family has experienced for generations, and by family, like I said earlier, it could be your country, it could be the whole of humanity. The energy of what has happened stays, and particularly those experiences or happenings which are excluded. So let's say somebody was an outcast, somebody ran away from home, or pehle zamane mein jo, we used to have the young widows who were like given away to maybe ashrams and
fire, sati
ho sakta hai. So these are happenings nobody talks about. These are people we may never mention ever. So wo jo exclusion hai, somewhere that energy tries to get re-included into the family dynamics, and a newer generation can represent it. So if something is, absurd, you feel some absurd happening, something you can't logically understand, ki why did this happen to this person, or why would this person hear something like this, or behave a certain way, which was completely peculiar or very unexpected. So family constellation says that in a workshop setting, we can get the participants to represent relevant people in your family, wherein the facilitator sets the intention in the room in such a way where even if I know nothing about what is happening, and let's say we're working on something you want to address, and I happen to, let's say, represent your grandmother, so I would feel the exact same way that your grandmother felt about that thing. And then there are ways to heal it.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. Listening to it, yeah. Doing would be wonderful. So that's where the journey started. And then how it continues forward.
So after the certain internships that I had done abroad, we had to go through a licensing exam process for the US. So उसमें कुछ exams clear हुए. Then at one point I didn't clear one exam. And that was the decision making time, whether I want to reappear, retry this, or take a completely different path. So sat down with a mentor that my family has. So we can call him our spiritual mentor maybe, or life coach, whatever you wish to call him. Sat down with him and I said that medicine pad liya, but I feel there's something more. And this is a program I have been looking at for 2 years. The same program where John had studied, Shavasti had studied. And my mentor said, agar 2 saal se you've been viewing it, so you're pretty serious about it. So why not give it a try? So it was a 3-year program in New Mexico, needed 9 trips to America. So it was a big commitment, both time, energy, money, all of it. So I was not sure about it, but somehow he understood what I was trying to say. And then he conveyed it to my family even, that he said, "Aap log jo ho, aap यहाँ पे बस स्टॉप पे खड़े रह के देख रहे हो, I can give you a bird's eye view from my perspective. And if you want something marvelous to happen, you have to take a risk. So that's how.
So you've been to New Mexico, you
Yes.
studied there.
Yeah.
Wow, what a wonderful journey. Because the densest jungles of the world is Amazon, and the oldest, things are found, knowledge is found in those jungles. So
Yeah.
plants speak. Okay. So I will not go to that direction. We're going to, get into a different talk. So when you learned that, now you know shamanism, understand healing, but how a practical human being who has 9 to 5 job, a business owner who's running a business, or an employee or a boss in HR, how does these people can get benefit of these energies, powers, or information to improve their life?
So it just begins with the acceptance that there is more to life than doing your job, cooking your food, cleaning your house, earning your money. If you want to go deeper within yourself, that would be the start point, I would say. Then it really depends on what somebody wants to work on. So there can be individual one-to-one sessions where I've had people coming up to me and say, I just want to experience shamanism. I'm not looking at any challenge. Then there are people who are not aware that they're facing anxiety or depression. But they tell you that they're afraid of something, that they don't feel like doing anything anymore. So little by little, as we start talking, it involves, you can't say it is purely energy medicine or healing. It involves coaching and healing together. So to get someone to open up, to first share, is the start of work with a healer. And then our job is to create that safe space for somebody where they can very honestly share whatever is going on with them. Because I don't think we have that kind of space in the world outside where you can be very frank about what you are going through or what you are uncomfortable with. So once you decide to approach a healer or work with someone like us, then comes the acceptance that something has to change. Something has to go, something new has to come in. So I typically feel that when someone is meant to go through some change, something new to come into their life, it's a calling, and that's how we get connected. I don't think it is, I can explain it to you logically.
They don't get to choose, you don't get to choose. If the time has come, they will find you.
It happens.
And you will find them.
Yes.
Okay, so now you do it professionally, and what's your company called, your institute called?
So the name of my company is Lumos Holistic Healing Center. Lumos because Lumos stands for light, so it's a spell actually. For those who are Harry Potter fans will know it immediately, but it's a spell that converts your wand into a torch.
Wow.
And the word shaman stands for seeing in the dark, bringing light to a situation. So even today, I think even if you take an iPhone and you say Lumos to Siri, you will have the torchlight turned on.
Wow.
So it's bringing light to wherever there's trouble, or where there is despair, or wherever somebody needs support.
How many years now with Lumos? When did you start?
7 years. 7.5 years.
2017.
2017.
You started.
Yes.
And what all services are there in your center?
So started with working with individuals. Got some very unexpected kind of cases. Some were I would say simpler to manage. So people who come with fears, with anxiety, with depression, some whose depression comes from grief, the loss of someone. So in the pandemic that we've just come out of, there was a lot of cases of grief that came for help. Then a lot of couple disputes, lot of couple disputes. So and it could be 6 months of marriage, or it could be 25 years of marriage. All kinds of disputes wherein sometimes there's something really serious that has happened, and sometimes it is more of a lack of communication, the ability to read into the other person, And then to be able to actually express yourself and let the person express. So largely one-to-one cases jo aate hain for one-to-one coaching, these are the kind of cases. A lot of students, women who are going through difficult marriages, like I've been approached more by women who are having a difficult marriage. Some rare cases of domestic violence or abuse even. So that's where we bring in the science of psychogeometrics.
No, we'll go to psychogeometrics. I want to talk more of...
Only on this?
No. We will talk first this because you bring in a very important point that anyone who is having a difficult married life, they may have accepted it, but the pain is still there. Second, acceptance is not there. They may be planning for divorce.
Yeah.
They'll separate out if not working out. Would you be able to help them through your knowledge and
a lot of
powers?
People who are going through a separation or who have just finished their divorce process, or then single parents with children sometimes, who are having a hard time coping with all of it. All of them
all can reach you out.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were talking about the grief, because I personally believe that we are never taught to handle our negative emotions in the school, colleges, nowhere.
Yes.
And that's where when suddenly something hits, we get into depressions and other things. And grief is very, very, very powerful emotion which comes because you lose someone suddenly. It could be your parent, could be your spouse, and sometimes it's painful. You lose a kid.
Yeah.
And or maybe someone who loved deeply, and the sudden loss of them brings a lot of grief. So you work with them. Would you like to talk a little bit on the grief? Because I know a lot of listeners who are listening, they have a grief, and we all have some way. I don't think so. There will be a human on the earth who doesn't have a grief, because we love our parents for sure, mom and dad,
of course.
And in most of the cases, they will leave the earth before us.
Yes.
In the most of the cases, and we will always have grief of our parents for sure. Sometimes in our lifetime. So we'd like to touch upon this emotion and how to handle if something happens.
Yeah, it is, to start out, it is difficult to even sometimes realize ki jo experience ho raha hai, what I'm feeling is grief.
Oh.
For some people, because the typical suggestion that you will get from your near and dear ones, if you've lost someone nearby, is ho gaya so ho gaya. Forget about it and move on. This is something I've heard so many patients and clients say. And grief can come in different forms. For some people it is depressing. So they just can't function. For some people, they go into a completely different direction where they overwork themselves, they over-occupy themselves with something to do. Both are ways in which you're trying to cope with grief, but you are unable to. And one case I remember was, this was a 40-year-old, 40 to 43-year-old lady who had lost her father. And she couldn't pinpoint and say that it was the grief that she was having a hard time handling. And but her business was not working well. Her husband's job was going through a hard time. Her son was going through a hard time. And she kept on saying, I don't know why this is happening. Everything was okay a few years ago. And as we worked on the grief, she realized that, her father had passed away unexpectedly on a festival. And usually, typically if somebody has had a prolonged illness, hospitalization, then somewhere you are mentally prepared.
Ready.
But the father went for a trek on a holiday and never came back. So to see a patient like this and to hold a patient like this, where she just needed to cry, and have someone hold her without saying you need to be strong, you're the older child, what will your son think if he sees you crying? Without saying anything, if a healer can create that space where you hold the patient. Sometimes you have to hold their hand, sometimes put an arm around them. That creates the safe space. And once those tears flow, a lot of blocked emotion also flows with them. So I think that is the key difference when you ask me between conventional medicine and an empath's work or a healer's work. And then things did get better for her.
If I want to touch upon, you were talking about the case, and I would say if a male loses a parent or someone very close, males are taught not to cry. You know, मर्द कैसे रो सकता है?
Right.
And if you don't cry, then emotions will not come out. And I believe that these negative emotions, whether it's a grief or an anger, all negative emotions live inside us like ghosts. We can't point them out. They're hidden. And they're running our life. So that's why trouble starts coming in.
True.
And we, you know, business is not working, you know, proposal is not going good, my employees are not working. You will work on outside. And you don't know, there's some very powerful negative emotion is pulling your entire energy down and things are going down. Understanding this much itself is a big power. So, and then they get to connect to right people. So now I want to talk about little dimension towards the companies, and you're talking about psychogeometrics.
Yes, we spoke about that.
So now I want to talk about psychogeometrics too. So what is psychogeometrics all about, and how it could be useful for companies?
Okay, so psychogeometrics, as I have learned it, is the psychology of shapes. So if I think of a person and say that his personality is very much like a box, or if I say this person's nature is more like a circle, there would be certain qualities that would naturally come to your mind. So it begins from there. And it is the ability to discover yourself first, where you try to understand yourself better by saying कि 10 बजे की मीटिंग है और अगर मैं 9:45 बजे ना पहुंचूं तो I get really restless and uncomfortable. You know, where does this come from? And then there might be somebody जो 10 बजे की मीटिंग है तो 10 बजे घर से निकलता है. You know, and that person is not jittery about it. They're okay reaching there at 10:30 also. So going beyond the right and wrong of things, you know, where ये गलत है, ये सही है, इसके थोड़ा आगे चल के if we start understanding that everybody's brain is wired differently, you're made differently, and it's those differences in people that make a team really beautiful, and that can really help you become successful also. So it puts forth the idea that somebody, like I said, कि 9:45 बजे कोई पहुंचता है, कोई 10:30 बजे पहुंचता है. So if you put these two together, you'll have a beautiful blend of creativity, new ideas, and a lot of logic and structure to it. You know, कोई एक ही रख दो आप, तो या तो you'll only have logic and analysis, or you will only have a lot of energy, lot of ideas, but nothing really getting into action and completed. You know, so in a team setting, you're going to have all kinds of people. Psychogeometrics helps teams through an assessment to understand कि आपका dominant nature क्या है, and what are those kind of people who will become your triggers. So if you understand कि जो trigger हो रहा है, it's not the person that is really triggering me, but it is something in their nature, and you figure out a way to adapt to it or to flex to it, team dynamics can really improve.
Yeah, so I can understand it's creating the powerful team, not only the basis of skills, but also basis of the personality types, because I personally believe that skill could be not more than 25-30% of the contributor in the success of a company. The psychology, the mindset, the character of people, that makes a big difference. So you can bring in that 70-75% game for the company to turn around. So it could be useful for big companies, small companies.
Yeah, so I recently worked with a company that's a manufacturing giant in Pune, and so the funny part was that, you know, right from their founder to their corporate heads, some top management, you know, a lot of people in the room, and everyone kept on telling me that, you know, it's this person that you need to work with. Like, this person is the triangle personality you're talking about. So triangles are the dynamic, you know, leaders that you meet. So they're always trying to get that goal achieved. You know, so those who are more people oriented find it a little challenging to work with them. And while this person was not aware but so many people in the room kept on saying, do something here, you need to reduce his triangle, is what one of the participants said. Then somebody else told someone whose personality was more like a circle, more of a nurturer, a harmony loving, people oriented person. उसको उनके बॉस ने बोला कि इसको थोड़ा ट्रायंगल बना दो तो काम भी वक्त पे होगा, kind of a thing. So when I look at companies that have grown to big sizes, huge turnovers, large number of plants, but somewhere that human angle where you also understand कि अगर कोई people oriented है तो बजाय ये कि आप उसको ही goal oriented बना दो, give him a teammate who's that way. That way that synergy can really work better.
And changing or rather flipping a full personality type could be a very difficult task.
Yeah.
Rather, it may happen with time, but not immediately. But the goals are required to be achieved immediately. Then you get a right combination of it.
Exactly.
Wow. So a company can grow double of their speed if they know every person's every important leadership role. All seniors, directors, managing directors, employees, they all know it. Even in the hiring process, this could also be very, very helpful. If HR understands, they include some kind of, psychogeometric angle to the hiring process, the hiring can also go right. They hire right people.
Yeah, could be. I haven't done the hiring bit, but understanding a person always.
Yeah,
always.
Like for an example, let's say in account hiring, I have a triangle person. It will be a disaster. I need a box person for
more of a box
person. Or maybe HR in a triangle would also be a wrong person.
Yeah, you would want someone more circle.
Yeah, so even in a hiring process, could be very powerful because you hire especially senior employees, senior management. If I hire a senior HR in my company or sales director or someone, if I don't hire looking at his personality type, he may not sustain more than a year, 1.5 years, which is a big loss to a company because if a senior is not able to adopt, now people look at from organization culture in different angle, but it could also be a personality type to get more success and I think it's a very, very powerful thing. So you do trainings and consulting for companies too.
Yeah.
So you are basically helping companies grow faster.
Perform better, grow faster.
Grow faster.
Yes.
Okay. And could it be useful for small entrepreneurs, like small team with 3 people, 4 people in the office? Can they also be used?
Yeah, 100%. So I did it for a law firm recently. So they're a small law firm right now. And as we analyzed the team, we realized कि पूरी team में एक भी triangle नहीं है. If there were boxes, there were circles. One odd squiggle maybe in the room, but there was no triangle. So there was nobody with a dominant goal-oriented focus there. And that's when both the founders said that, we need to really think about this because I think that's why we are not growing the way we want to grow.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, so again, we go to the same thing. You not only work on the symptoms. So a lot of business coaches or CAs, when they work with companies, they work on numbers and things and activities.
SOPs and whatnot.
That's more symptoms. Like doctor working on a symptom.
Yes.
I have a headache, you give me a Disprin.
True.
The question is, why do I have a headache?
Exactly. Very true.
So wow, you're bringing the same knowledge of medical science to companies and curing them, growing them faster.
Yep, that is so the end result has to be that you make a difference to people's lives. Be it health, be it psychology, be it day-to-day behavior, whatever it is, but making a difference to people's lives.
Do you also teach psychogeometry or shamanism? Do you conduct classes where I know a lot of our viewers would like to learn from you about these? I know a lot of people are interested in shamanism, spirituality.
Yeah.
They want to do family constellation, learning part of it. So, do you do courses? Do you conduct trainings on that?
So I don't do train the trainer kind of courses, but I do open trainings where anybody with an interest is more than welcome to join, to understand the science, to be able to apply it for themselves.
Change your life, basically.
To basically change your life, yes.
So I want to know, what's your mission with this world? I know you're on the purpose. I'm very happy and grateful to meet people who are on the purpose. Most of people don't even know why they are born, what they're doing, their Monday blues. But I'm happy that, I meet people who know the purpose of their life. So if everything goes well, what would be your mission to impact the world?
I would say if it is individual people that I work with, um, at least to impact 10,000 marriages positively is what. So 20,000 लोग उसमें impact हो जाते हैं.
Wow.
Directly.
लोग तो ज्यादा हो जाएंगे because kids.
I'm saying
family,
directdirectly husband and wife
husband and
20,000. But if you get the family, then
it's
it would have a huge impact, I feel. So yes, 10,000 marriages impacted for sure. If you speak of the business world or companies, I feel through whatever work that I do with them, if they are better able to manage their people, not just as resources but as people, then a total impact of say 1,000 crores
Wow.
over the next 8 to 10 years.
Wow. So it could be a small company adding to the 1,000 crores. It could be a big company adding to 1,000 crores. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I was saying, I meet very few people who are on the purpose. And I just tell them, do you have a Monday blue? If you have a Monday blue, then you're not on the purpose.
True.
Someone on the purpose, the time is immaterial, time runs very fast. So you're on the purpose. And I'm very, very happy that being a science background student, coming from a science background family, you picked up this particular topic because we always believe that there are two different things, but in essence, both are same. And someone has to put in efforts to learn and teach to the world. And I'm also grateful that not only you kept this information to change your own life, but you decided to impact people. So now you are helping a lot of couples to save their marriages. You are helping people to come out of depressions, traumas, grief. You're helping students from fears of their exams and career and all those things.
True.
As well as you're helping companies to grow their profits. So thank you very much for doing all the work you're doing. And I would like to ask you one last thing is, would you like to give a last message to our viewers?
Okay.
Then we'll say thank you to everyone.
Yeah, sure. So I truly feel that in the pursuit of getting somewhere to success, a lot of times we forget the human nature that is involved in everything. So I genuinely feel that through my life, I've had people supporting me emotionally, letting me be the person I was without trying to change me to suit them. So yes, the numbers and the logic and the charts, all of it matters. But I genuinely feel that if we give people emotional space while working with them, it could be the space to express, to heal, to create, whatever it is. Our success will be exponential, is what I genuinely feel.
Yeah, success will be exponential, and happiness would make it 1 + 1 = 11.
Yeah, you could say that, absolutely.
Because then you are really happy.
Yeah, so that emotional acceptance or that space for business is just numbers. Now I think we need to lose that as we step into 2025. Somewhere we have to say that it has to be all inclusive.
One thing I remember, you're writing a book also on the similar things. So would you like to talk about the book?
We're still in the process of
so what we'll say
shaping it up.
For the viewers, yes, the book is coming, and we'll have another podcast only on the book. We'll talk about that too.
Sure.
But thank you very much for joining in today, coming to our studio, sharing essence of your life from last 15 years in just a small amount of time. So I know people would have learned a lot, and a lot of people are going to invite you to your companies, to their own companies to you. A lot of people who are struggling, they'll reach out to you, and I hope you will be able to help them. So you achieve your mission.
I hope so too. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you.
It's been lovely.
You heard Dr. Nupur Joglekar, how she brings in science and spirituality together to impact people's life. So if you're someone who's struggling, or if you know someone who's struggling with grief, anger, someone who's struggling in the marriage, you can definitely reach out to Dr. Nupur. She'll be able to help and save that person from the disaster trauma which is going to come to their life. If you're running a company, you're a managing director, or you're an HR of a company, you can call her to get her expertise of psychogeometrics in your company that can help you bring the right balance of team. That powerful team can bring your profits up to next level and your goals and dreams can achieve very, very fast. Her contact details are in the description box. You can reach out to her and she'll be very happy to help you to achieve better success in your life. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.